What's going on, everybody? Al here at MiN New York with a familiar face from MiN New York, right?
Olya.
Say Olya?
Olya Bar.
Oh yeah, okay. I know a lot of people, they call MiN New York, and Olya is one of the voices you hear. How long have you been at MiN?
Since December, actually.
Since December?
Yeah, I've been there since, so I'm kind of new to the team, but I've been in fragrance since, my whole life. Kind of have a lot of passion for it, and it's really cool because we bring in a lot of different brands all the time, so I was always learning about mostly commercial, but niche is a completely different world, so this has been like a really interesting journey. But one of my favorites right now at MiN is Bois, which is by Naomi Goodsir. She actually was a hat designer, and still is, and this was one of her creations, but this is a very unisex scent. Definitely more of a masculine side to it because it's very heavy on the smoke and tobacco, which I love. It's that smokiness, it's that masculine kind of raw structure of it that's really, really appealing to me. And it has a little bit of that incense, with a little bit of platinum, which works very well because it creates this kind of interesting layer. I think that's clean on a dry down, but as you first encounter the scent, it's very smoky, so that's what hits you in the beginning. But then, that little kind of spiciness, pinch of cinnamon comes out, and there's a little bit of that booziness from the pinch of whiskey. But then there's that earthy kind of dirty note from oak moss. So you have this really interesting combination, and the smokiness tends to kind of go away in about an hour. So you're left with a really refined, incensey, but still, tobacco always lingers kind of in the back. But the beauty of it, in my opinion, is I like wearing it as a woman because I just like stealing men's scents. I think it's like a nice twist on things. And it smells awesome on a woman because you would never expect something like this, on a woman. And then you smell it, and most of the time I get this what are you wearing? And people kind of keep reaching in. So that's my take on this.
And can you say the name one more time?
It's Naomi Goodsir, that's the designer. And Bois. At least that's my pronunciation, but hey, I never actually spoke French. But she's an Australian designer.
Wow, this sounds interesting. It sounds like a real nice competition. You got me
smell it.
Intrigued. Wow, I get the smokiness, the incense.
What do you feel like when you smell it? What comes to mind?
She sounds like me. That's what I ask people. I
do too.
When I do street scents, I spray it on someone. I'm like, what does it make you think of? What does it take you? What do you get out of that?
And now I just did a whole 180
360. I get the incense, the smokiness.
Well, it's also, it's in my opinion, the way when I see it, when I smell it, I kind of feel like I'm in a dark, kind of smoky room, and there's this dark leather couch, and there's a really nice, glass of scotch in my hands, and there's a fire burning, and it's all that. It's definitely a very masculine take on things, but I think that being a man or a woman, it's a very raw sense. In my opinion, it's very, very raw. And I think it's interesting. It's refreshing to see a scent like that because it's definitely out of ordinary.
Yeah, I like the way you describe the fragrance. That's how I describe. When I do my reviews, I like to describe fragrances like that kind, like what you just did. Like for instance, I did a review where I said it's you come out the shower, you got the freshness, the shaving cream. I just like to take you there, like we just did right now. You said you're in a room, you got a couch, and it's you get the vision of the scent.
It's important, I think it's a huge part of it because I think, a fragrance is, it kind of transports you to that place where you want to be, and, with different fragrances, you can travel to those places. So that's why it's very important to kind of imagine. It's just like reading books, You picture these characters, you make friends with these characters, you travel to all these unbelievable places, you go through these adventures, and it's almost the same way for fragrances because you travel time, you travel places, and that's what I think the beauty of it is. So that's why, especially for people who are collectors, because they're, imagine they're world travelers with their scents, and it's amazing, changes everything for you.
Yeah, fragrance definitely takes me to places, fragrances. And I have memories from fragrances too. You get that? Like Fahrenheit for me, every time I smell it, it takes me back to like,
back to like,
you know, I get these
10 years back.
Yeah, but I feel those memories, like music kind of. Like you hear the song, I thought, you know, it makes you think of a certain time in your life. Like Fahrenheit for me, you know Fahrenheit.
Of course.
Stupid question. Christian Dior Fahrenheit to me is one of those fragrances that takes me to another place. You know, it's like always gonna be in my collection.
I like Fahrenheit. It's just I like Fahrenheit. I think it's one of those classy scents, you know, that will like almost represent like a certain decade. And I remember a lot of my relatives actually, because I was born and raised in Moscow. Fahrenheit was huge in Moscow. Huge. I think still is actually. And yeah, it's one of those scents, and it definitely brings me back to like a lot of, you know, back in the day. It definitely takes me back about more than 10 years. Like I would say like 15, and almost 20. You know, so it's an interesting scent, but I think it's also, you know, some of the strongest memories we possess, you know, are olfactory memories.
Yes.
And sometimes it could be, you know, it can take you back to some relationship that you have with somebody. It can make or break kind of your memories.
I'm not talking about that. Fahrenheit to me is, I get compliments for Fahrenheit, right? Like a girl, I go to the doctor's office. I'm in the doctor's office. One girl that works there, she goes, "You're wearing Fahrenheit?" I'm like, "Yeah, how'd you know?" This one just my ex-boyfriend. So I call Fahrenheit the ex-boyfriend scent.
The ex, yeah.
I get that so many times. And not just once I got that. Like another girl
will have a boyfriend.
She goes, "You wearing Fahrenheit?" I'm like, "How'd you know?" She's like, "You smell like my ex-boyfriend. Damn, it smells so good." So it's like the ex-boyfriend scent.
Well, that kind of plays in your favor at this point. So this is the, you know, this works. But it's interesting. You know, scents can really take you to a place in time, and they can make you feel things that you felt at that certain time. They can make, you know, it's almost like, you know, one of the reasons, like let's say taking a photograph, you know, the reason why I personally like taking a photograph, because when you're at a certain place with someone, it's amazing, like you have that memory, but taking the picture, why it would matter to you so much later on, more than to just a random person looking at that same photo, is because by looking at it, you take yourself back to that place, and you expand that picture to that specific moment and to everything you felt or thought at that moment, and just like that person that you, or with that place, anything. And same thing with scents. It's just like you smell it and it takes you back to that, and it's so much more. So that's why I'm like, I, you know, built my collection little by little. I have been working on it, and starting like from, I think one of my first scents was actually Amarish, the Givenchy. And I was about 8 years old, or 9. And I mean, I used to go to school wearing that scent, which was, have you ever smelled it? It's like really, it's pretty strong.
I know the scent, but I'm not familiar with it.
It's pretty strong. And you know, and every time, and every time I smell it, I'm like, oh my god, you know, I go back, you know, I go back.
And that's like my wife said she used to wear Red Door by, I think, Elizabeth Taylor or Elizabeth
yeah, Elizabeth Arden.
When she was younger. And Red Door to me is like an old lady scent. Like, Red Door? You wear Red Door? She's like, yes. And she said, I can't believe I wore that, but it reminds her of when she was a kid.
Reminds her, you know,
she can't believe she wore that. Oh, now she smells it, she's like, it smells like roach spray.
What does she wear now?
Now she wears, wow, what does she wear? She wears Virgin Island Water by Creed, Molecule 1. I own that. She tends to take my bottle and spray that. She wears some bottle number 9s. She has a bunch of fragrances. You know?
It's an interesting one. Like, you know, people always come and they talk about Molecule, and I found a really, you know, like once, you know, in MiN I actually discovered it. It's called Not a Perfume, and it's by Juliet Has a Gun brand, and I've been like really obsessing over the scents because it's that same concept kind of, you know, but it's really interesting because, you know, it smells very different in everyone because, you know, it takes that, like, your natural kind of musk and just plays with it. And it's very sensual. So it's kind of that same, you know, direction that you get with a Molecule. But a little bit softer, in my opinion, at least the way it was on me. But it's like a lot of people come to me and they have me, you know, smell something and they're like, can you match it? And I'm like, hold on 1 second. And that usually, like, when I reach for it, you know, it's for Not a Perfume. I think it's like one of those really interesting, especially in a world of like scents that some of them are so complex. You know, you're talking about like so many notes in it that I probably wouldn't even remember, you know, if I tried. But and that one is pretty much just a single, you know, ingredient. And it's so complex on your skin.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting one as well that I found recently.
She's like a perfume genius over here, like the
I wish.
wizard
I
over
wish.
Well, working at MiN, I'm sure, you know, broadens your horizons with fragrances.
Absolutely.
You know?
It's you know, open up a whole new world out there. And it's, you know what a beautiful, you know, part about, you know, niche fragrances specifically is that there's always something to learn. You know, I mean, I read books, I read reviews, I constantly talk to people about it, but I think that the beautiful part is that you can never know it all. You know, there's always something to surprise you. There's always something.
I'm always learning something new every day.
Exactly.
That's why I thought I knew everything. Not even close.
Here you go.
There's
something else.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it, because I think it's like, you can never read all the books in the world. You can never learn all the scents. There's always going to be something. There's always going to be something surprising, something shocking sometimes, you know, and it's like, that's what I think the beauty of it is. So it's a like always evolving process. And there's so many, you know, there's so many great scents that are kind of those classics, and then there's a lot of like innovative like things that are, some of them are edgy, some of them, you know, still kind of follow the classic path, but whichever way it is, I'm always open to smell it. I'm always open to experience it. So.
Awesome. We're having we took this video from here all it's like a
whole 10 different things.
Yeah. Hey, that's what Street Scents is all about. You never know what you're gonna get. I really want to thank you for taking the time to be on Street Scents and sharing.
Thank you.
This is your favorite fragrance as of now?
As of right now, this is me.
And the name again?
Bois by Naomi Goodsir.
By who?
Naomi Goodsir.
Okay, my French is horrible.
Mine too.
You sound better than I could saying it. And this is for men? Or unisex?
This is a unisex scent. I think you know, men respond very, very well to it because of those like strong tobacco and incense notes in it. But I think that if you're a daring woman,
go for it. And would you like your man, boyfriend to smell like this?
Well, considering that I wear it, I don't know if I want to share it.
And what does this go for, price?
$150.
On one size only?
Yeah, it comes in one size.
50 ml?
Yeah, I believe so. And yeah, and there's also another one from that collection. It's called Clear Velour, which is a very sweety scent. You know, and it's a little bit of that kind of softness to it from like the rum notes. So that one I would say, if you find this one a little bit too much, because some people are not so open to that heavy tobacco scents, then I would say that would be like a softer, still kind of in that leather, you know, intense, kind of darker category, but a little softer, you know, almost like, it's almost like the other scent from this collection almost feels like, you know, when you touch the suede, and it has this like beautiful texture, like that's what you almost feel like when you smell it. Yeah, this is wonderful.
Wow, you gonna give me a sample before I go? I gotta get a sample.
Absolutely not.
Amazing fragrance. It's probably gonna be in my collection real soon. It does smell. I'm a huge. There you go. Oh yeah, spring. I'm a huge tobacco fan, so that's definitely gonna be in my collection real soon. Thank you so much. That's one of your favorites right now. You give that a 10.
One of my favorites. Yeah, I would give it. You know, I've been obsessing with it for quite some time.
She gives it a 10. I'm gonna check it out. It's a great fragrance. Call MiN and talk to Olya. What's the number here?
212-206-6366.
Call up, ask for Olya or talk to Olya. Say you saw on Street Scents. Tell you saw on Street Scents. Hopefully we'll get some calls. Anything else you want to share with us before we say goodbye?
Anything you wish I can show you, you know, anything you want to explore.
I'm going to be smelling away.
Smelling away, that's the way to go.
And would you be back on Street Scents again?
Absolutely.
You would? If you want to see Olya again, comment down below, let me know. I'm going to see a lot of comments for her to come back, and we'll talk about something else.
Absolutely.
A new topic.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on Street Scents. Olya, I'm in New York. Call up, ask about this fragrance. I'm sure you'll sell a few of these now. That's it. That's what Street Scents is all about. I'm in New York. We're going to go inside, smell some fragrances. My man Frank is here. Adolescence is here. We're having a great time. If you have any questions, send me a message. Rate, comment, subscribe. I'm in New York. I'll see you later.